Student trustee Pastrana.
Here.
Student trustee Yen.
Here.
Student trustee De Silva Santos.
Here.
Trustee Lee.
Here.
Trustee Tahada.
Here.
Vice President Walker.
Here.
President Gallegos.
Here. Thank you. We have nothing to report out of closed session. Item number 9, approval agenda. Unless there are any changes, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve meeting minutes for October 7th and October 16th of 2025?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One no. I
Abstain for the October 16th minutes because I was not at the meeting.
Thank you, Rosie. Sit down.
Mhm.
Good. Jump over here. Okay, we're moving on to item 11, recognitions and commendations for October Student of the Year. And speaker for this is Mr. Mark Brashears. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing? Long
Doing
time
well.
no see, bud.
Yeah, good to see you.
We did the top of the hill.
Yeah, we were hanging out
together.
together.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, that was my buddy.
This is always my favorite thing to come do. To the Board of Trustees, to Superintendent Presta, to the Executive Cabinet. I'm very pleased to present, I believe, since the name change, this is the first, am I correct? JUHSD Student of the Year, since we started calling it that?
I think
Yeah.
so.
For October 25, Ms. Megan Williams of the Jefferson Adult Transition Program. Congratulations to Megan Williams, Jefferson Union High School District Student of the Year. Megan joined ATP in 2023 after completing high school at Westmore. She told me that her favorite thing about Westmore were the friends she made there, but she also really enjoyed taking art, ceramics, and fashion design classes. By the way, while she was at Westmore High School, she maintained a 3.9 GPA. From the day I met Megan, I was instantly charmed. She is one of the most inquisitive students I've ever met. Each day she's at ATP, she comes in with a new question. While we were still at Saramonte, Megan wanted to know everything about the new building. What room would she be in? Is there a basement? Will we be allowed to go upstairs? I finally broke down one day and brought her the blueprints to pour over. That really just led to more questions. Megan is a person with many talents, not the least of which is her skill at internet research. She is the Sam Spade of Google. If it can be found online, she will find it. Just ask Tony. One of her most impressive talents, though, is her artistic ability. She was already a skilled artist when she joined us at ATP, but Megan was part of the inaugural group of artists who participated in Imaginate Youth, brought to us by Creativity Explored. She continues to participate in the program, but she didn't feel as though she was getting quite enough time to complete Ms. Megan Williams.
Right.
Thank you to you all. It was a pleasure.
All right. Thank you, Meg. At this time, we can open it up to our student trustees if you'd like to make a comment or have a
Meetings, you always ask questions, and I think you're only in kindergarten. So, so when I got the agenda and I saw we were going to be honoring Student of the Year, and I saw your name, I was so proud. And I got to see your art the first year that we went to the mission, and I got to see you creating your art and then speaking on it. I was so impressed by you, and I just know you're going to do a lot of great things. And I want to thank your parents for being awesome. And, and your teachers, of course. You make us very proud in the district. You're a great example of what you're a great example of what a Jefferson Union High School District student is. And I'm very proud. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Megan. I think I've seen you working at the store at the adult school. I really enjoyed hearing about how you're very inquisitive and about your art. And a little bit of me wonders if there's, maybe there already is, but if there's a future in you for some music, because you're inquisitive, you have questions, you've learned all these things on your own. But that's just me. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Hi, Megan. First of all, huge congratulations to you. Just we get a brief little synopsis here of who you are, and I know it's just the very tip of the iceberg, and I could tell just from these writings here, you're a really hard worker. I could tell that you take things very seriously, that you put your efforts into, and you're very inquisitive, like everybody has stated. The part I like the most is your creativity. Hearing about art, I liked art and I like to draw and do things like that. And I was curious, what's your favorite thing to draw or paint, or what's your go-to when it comes to art?
I'll be happy to answer that.
Okay.
My favorite thing to paint is that I am really proud of what I'm currently painting for my adult transition programs, Imagine It Youth program right now. The M map that I created, I like how I inspired by drawing exactly what real life places are like in real life onto that. And it's really cool. And it's like that I get to almost see that more frequently than instead of having to wait to go to the exact places in real life to see it then.
Yep, because you could see him up here, huh? In your mind. That's really awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. And again, I'm just really proud of you, and just, keep that creativity, keep that inquisitiveness up, that curiosity, keep that hard work up, and keep setting a good example for, the people around you. And we're all really proud of you. Thank you. All right. Ms. Presta.
Thank you. So I am very proud of you, and I hope you're very proud of yourself, Megan. And I love that Principal Bashir's made mention of your internet research skills, because I first met Megan a few years ago when she sent me an email with a lot of information about me. And I was like, who is this student? And I reached out to your teacher and I learned that it was Megan with really good internet research skills. So I went over to your classroom to meet you, and I was very happy to meet you. December 6th. Okay, really good. Really good. But I'm just so happy that you're receiving this honor. You really deserve it. Congratulations.
Okay, so if you guys don't mind, we could do a quick little pause to get a picture with everybody, yeah? Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Okay, do you want us down there to take a picture?
Yes.
Against the wall.
The students, yeah.
Tell us what you Yeah. Everything in here got moved around. Like, I came in and
Were we supposed to stay there? Were we supposed to leave? Were we
Oh,
supposed to
she
stay
told
in
us to
Ohio?
take rocks.
I thought so, but then they're still on it. I always have to remember to take this. It's not a good.
That was wholesome. That was wholesome. Board report.
Moving on, everybody, moving on. Okay, communications, 12A, board report. We'll start with our student advisors, our student board members. Brian Shaw, would you like to start, please?
Yeah. So in the past 2 weeks at Westmore High School, we've had a lot of student activities. Just last Friday, we had our first school rally this fall. The theme was music festival, and each of the different classes had a different festival to dress up as. So the juniors dressed up as Coachella, and it was really successful, and we had a lot of student participation. Last week, we also had a T-Pumps fundraiser between the 4 classes. So we were able to sell 140 drinks and raise money for each class's activities. This week, we're having Social Justice Coalition and Women's Health Club Breast Cancer Awareness Week. So they're tabling, handing out pins, ribbons, and also creating a poster wall in the main hallway. And Crafts to Give also helped make cards for that event. Our ASB classes, along with the rest of the classes from the Jefferson Union High School District, went to CATA, which is a student leadership conference that invites leadership classes from throughout the Bay Area. And it was a lot of fun learning from like the other classes and what they do as a school. And last week at the Top of the Hill Festival, we had student clubs, Future Business Leaders of America, Daly City Chinese Youth Committee, Key Club, and Filipino Barkada volunteered here. Key Club went to Fall Rally North, which is their annual fundraising event, and there was a bunch of spirit, and from the pictures I saw online, it looked really fun. And the CT Work Experience class at Westmore High School, which is for third-year career technical education students, are finally enrolled in Skyline College. For future events, we have our Tennessee night today. We have our first food fair, November 7th, and we're welcoming the class of 2030 to Westmore High School at various dates. Our first one is actually in 2 days on Thursday, but we also have 8th grade student tours on November 6th and the 20th. On October 31st, we're having a trick-or-treat event where teachers get to hand out candy from their classrooms and students can dress up and visit them. And Westmore Math Club is inviting students from across the district to participate in a math competition in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan. Romina?
Okay, we have a lot of stuff going on at Jeff right now. We just ended our first quarter, so we had our finals 2 weeks ago, and everyone's excited to start the new quarter. Our Key Club also went to FRN at Six Flags last Saturday, and our ASB also went to CATA at Elko, and I heard that everyone had a really great time. We also had our Foods Day last week on Friday, so we had a lot of clubs and classes selling food, and it was timed on a really good day because it was sunny, so there's a lot of people who bought food and came out just to listen to music and vibe. And we also had, last week GSA had a lunchtime activity called Coming Out Day, and another LTA we had was a new club that was launched this year at Jeff called With Love. They held an LTA for breast cancer awareness where they wrote letters to breast cancer patients. And this week is our homecoming week. So we have Spirit Weeks going. We're having our homecoming rally at the football field this Saturday, so there'll be games. And we have some classes and clubs that are performing, so that's really fun. And we have our homecoming game against Homestead on Friday, and homecoming will be this Saturday, and our theme is GLOCO. And we're also having our girls volleyball senior night this Thursday at War Memorial against Terra Nova. And Skyline also started their application workshops, so we have seniors that are scheduled to attend during flex time to get support that they need for applications and for any questions that they may have about college. And our freshman advisories are also starting to collaborate with their linker leaders to start decorating their door for our Halloween door decoration contest that happens every year. And for those who aren't aware of what Link Crew is, it's basically a group of upperclassmen who help the freshmen navigate through their first year of high school. And lastly, we also started advertising a new student equity team. And it's basically a space where students can process their experiences related to race and racism. And it's a space to find their power within the community. And its main goal is basically to work towards change through the collaboration with students and adults. And their first meeting will be this Tuesday on 28th, or next Tuesday on 28th.
Thank you very much. Valerie?
All right. In the past 2 weeks at Terra Nova, we had a big focus on homecoming. So we had our homecoming rally, which was SpongeBob themed, in which we announced freshman officers and homecoming royalty of all grades. And then that Friday, we won our homecoming game against South San Francisco High School and had our yearly freshman tailgate. Then the day after, we had our homecoming dance. It was very successful. And then last week, we had Hispanic Heritage Month dance showcase in which dancers from Jefferson came over to Terra Nova and displayed their culture during one of our lunch times. We've also been having lots of sports active last week. We had our first marching band competition last Saturday, and then we've currently been having 8th grader touring and shadowing, and that's still going on right now. We also had our Dig Pink volleyball game for breast cancer awareness. And just like the other schools, around 30 of our ASB students went to the CATA Leadership Conference to collaborate with other ASB students and work on their leadership craft. For our future events, we have a football game versus Santa Clara this Friday. We have a class of 2028 Chipotle fundraiser. We have wintergram sales, which is like candy grams for Valentine's Day, but it's for winter instead. Oh, and we also have, on November 7th, we have a freshman field day.
Thank you, Valerie. Johnny?
First, I would like to thank the audience for being here and the counselors for the opportunity for me to talk. I'll start by saying that on the last 2 weeks, we had a trip to learn about Eco House and about the bees. We had a field trip with 3rd graders to a museum. We also had a lowrider conference in College Skyline. It was fun. We got to see the history about the lowriding. We got to meet some famous people that knows about lowrides. So it was a fun experience. We also, Thornton students and staffs were also participating on a food bank where we would help food banks distribute food. We also volunteered at PetSmart on Saturday. There was a field trip with Fly on San Francisco State College. We also are going to have a pumpkin patch to help 3rd graders from Susan B. Anthony with Wildness Boys. It will end about 7:30 or 8 o'clock. That's all I have for the day. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. Thank you, Johnny. And then Superintendent Press speaking on behalf of Oceana.
Thank you. The Oceana student trustee was not able to make it tonight, so I said I would give a shorter update than they probably would have. I think the big highlight for Oceana is that they're having Halloween Fest this Friday. So they hope that everyone comes. It starts at 6. I think it goes to 9:30, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I happen to have heard about a lot of the things they're planning, and the kids have been working really, really hard on it. They also went to CATA with a lot of the other student leadership ASBs from the high schools, and that was supposedly really great. And their interim forms were just released, and they're having a hygiene drive. I'm going to wrap it up at that.
Oh, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
All right, well, moving on up to our board, starting with Andy.
Yeah, so last Thursday, we had the Jefferson site school board meeting after school, which was good, just to hear the updates from the team at Jeff. And then I went over to the college and career fair over at Sermoni. Nice to see a really great turnout with not just our staff, but the different schools and trades and and everybody who was out there, and a lot of our students, and also South San Francisco Unified students out there. So it was good to see the activity and the curiosity and the universities that were there. And also just want to thank the students for their reports, because I know I said at the last meeting too, but it just, in this weird world that we're in right now, it's really great to hear just all the activity at our school sites, and that, there's a sense of normalcy, at least on campus, where you're able to learn. You're able to have field trips and dances and rallies and just be students. You're learning, but you're also learning life skills and organizational skills. And I'm just grateful that each of you have been able to be a part of the life of your school communities, and, certainly bring that back to your fellow students as well.
Thank you, Andy. Rosie?
I have to echo what you're saying. I almost don't want to follow any of the student reports because they're so thorough and amazing. You're all doing so much. You're all doing so much, including, public service and community service. It's amazing to me. And it just, like, this crazy world, it really just makes me happy that you can just be students. But also, you're our leaders. You're going to make change. And that's why I feel, on the board, I need to protect that. I need to protect you and your schools and your families. And that's my promise. So keep doing what you're doing. I'll have to ask you questions later because, as you share things, what is that? What is that? So I'll check in with you later. But also, I was able to attend the community resource night that was here. And I actually got some, flyers that I'm sharing with other people. There are a lot of services that I didn't know we had opportunities for. So it's always a good event, and I'm glad that we hosted here. And thank you.
Thank you, Rosie.
I have very little new to report. I was out and about on Saturday, and I bumped into a couple of our union members doing their union business. It was good to see that. And I like to go out and see student activities. I think I see things that have to do with music more than I do with sports, although I'm more familiar with sports than I am with things that have to do with music. I just want you all to know that on Tuesday, 28th, I'm going to go see some Terra Nova water polo. That's all I got.
Cool.
Right. Come with me. Go Tigers.
Thank you, Shred. For myself, I was also at Community Resource Night. I got here a little bit late because I thought it started at a different time. But I showed up nonetheless, and I was pleasantly surprised by the turnout. Also, really, I think caught off guard, kind of like Rosie was saying about the amount of resources that are out there for people that I don't think a lot of people know about. So I was trying my best to kind of absorb as much as I could, and hopefully try to spread that out a little bit to people that are in need, because there's just so many cool programs and things out there for people. And for us to be able to host that and give people, give these places that exposure and give people the opportunity to find out what's really out there is pretty cool. So glad to be a part of that and kind of see what it does for people. I was also at the Jefferson school site meeting as well. And every time I go there now, not seeing that gym really trips me out. But I know something cool is going to go there, and I've seen kind of the conceptuals and looking forward to it. Had some great conversations with some of the staff there on how things are going, and felt really good about what I heard, and looking forward to just those updates and kind of staying in touch with people on site, and just continuing to do good work as a district. And I'm kind of really proud of what everybody's doing. So cool stuff. That's kind of it for me for now. So we'll turn it over to Superintendent Presta for our superintendent report.
Thank you. I'm going to be a little bit redundant, but I'm going to add a little different note to things. So I was at the community resource night, and I want to say about that, I'm super proud of our staff for being among the team of leaders. I'm also proud that we're collaborating with the other school districts around us to put these resource nights together. They're really needed. We can all watch the news and experience the world that we're in right now. There are many people who are going to go without food for November because their SNAP benefits are not happening. So there's a real need in our community. So I'm very proud when our students share that they're out helping others. That's who we hope to be raising in our community. So thank you. I too was at Top of the Hill. I was there earlier in the day, in the morning hours, and it was a beautiful, glorious, sunny day. And I was just so happy to see it seemed really, really well organized. And I was bummed that I couldn't stay longer. But I hear that it got really, really crowded. So that was a good event. The College and Career Fair at Ceremony was amazing. I want to kind of put a shout out to Karina Gamez and Christina Lewis for their organization of that event, and give Denise Shreve a shout out as well for her CTE folks. It was a really good night, and I saw lots of kids. I was gathering things up for my own child who wasn't at the event, but I was picking things up. And it was nice to see our South San Francisco colleagues as well. I attended Courageous Conversations Summit last week with a small team from our district. We had a counselor, a vice principal, teachers, and it was a really, really good conference that reminded us about our focus on equity. Keep us rooted in why we are here and doing the work for our students. Upcoming, I just want to give a shout out for Thursday night. We have our high school fair for prospective ninth graders. So I hope families or people that might be watching will be here, because it's a really good night for you to come, learn about all of the high schools in our district and the different programs that we have in our district, like dual enrollment and things like that. So I really hope to see you here on Thursday night at 6 p.m. That's it for me.
Thank you, Ms. Presta. I just wanted to backtrack 1 second, because I was also at Top of the Hill, and I forgot to mention that, but it was something on top of my mind when you were talking about it. It was really exciting to see the amount of interest in people at our booth. I was there for a couple hours, and it was just nonstop traffic coming in, asking questions, grabbing pamphlets, kids talking about the schools, asking tons of questions about them. So that was really cool. And I got to hang out with Mark, so that was even cooler. So anyways.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
I was reading an article that mentioned Jefferson High School as a top school in the state. And doesn't matter who said it or whatever. It's just nice to see some attention on one of our local public schools.
Thanks for sharing.
And extra special that it's in our district.
That's right. Okay, moving on to 12C, any board subcommittee reports this evening? Okay. Now we'll move on to 12D, our AFT Local 1481 report. Ms. Monica Casey.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have very much. I just want to let you all know that if you're interested in some of the political activities that we do, you can go to our AFT 1481 website and go to announcements. We're doing some yes on Prop 50, and obviously the No Kings. Several of us showed up on Saturday. I was in a big green, orange suit, wavy hands person suit. That was fun. And there's more to come. There's going to be more. We really want to make sure our communities, our schools, and our students and our staff are safe. And I don't know if you've heard about some of the things that have been said about what's going to be happening in San Francisco soon, but we're very close. So when some of us live in San Francisco, some of us travel back and forth. So, just be aware that AFT 1481 is looking into being involved and making sure our communities are safe.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right. Item 13 is for information. Moving on to 14, the consent agenda items. If the board does not wish to discuss or remove any of the items, I'd like to call for a motion to approve consent.
Move to approve consent.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right. Okay, is there any public comment tonight?
Yes, we have public comment from Angela Chen.
Hi, Angela.
Just make sure that the light is on your mic. There you go. And you have 3 minutes.
So I noticed that during school lunch, there aren't that many vegetarian and vegan options for people who are vegetarian and vegan. There's mostly, for my school specifically, which is Jefferson High School, we have the egg sandwich for vegetarians and the cheese pizza for vegetarians, but there are obviously no vegan options. But since these items are fixed, it can get repetitive if you want to eat those every day for lunch. So I want to say that we should have a rotating vegetarian or vegan option available every day to support students who want to change their diet to vegetarian or vegan. Because most of the rotating lunches contain meat. For example, if you wanted pasta, it would come with the meatballs. The Alfredo would come with chicken, and the baked potato would come with bacon on it. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you for sharing. It's good to know.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to discussion items. 16A1, we have innovative strategies for prevention and intervention through restorative education. And our speaker is AOD Program Director, Ms. Mary Bear, and AOD Program Coordinator, Miguel Duenas.
Yes. Good evening, everybody, trustees, student trustees. I'm so happy to see you here. Makes me so happy to have student trustees. Executive Cabinet, thank you for everything you do. My name is Mary Beer. I'm the director for the Inspire program at the Daly City Youth Health Center. We're very excited to be here with my program coordinator, Miguel, to talk to you about our Pride and Joy, our AOD program at the Daly City Youth Health Center. And you would think after like a million years in the district that I would know we're only supposed to have 15 slides, but we kind of have 30. And so we're going to go through them as fast as we can. However, our program is really important to us, and we really want you to understand all the work that we're doing at the health center. Yep.
Not working? Is the keyboard turned on?
Yes. It was working.
There were some problems with it earlier too, so. Oh, okay, there we are. So you don't need to see us anymore. We can go on to the next one. All right, I'm going to just give you a little history. So in 2005, there was an alcohol-related accident that took the lives of 2 teenagers in Pacifica. One of them was my nephew, Jonathan. Shortly after their funerals, one of the Jefferson Union High School trustees, David Mineta, got together with Youth Leadership Institute and Asian American Recovery Services and decided to start a prevention movement so things like that didn't happen in our community ever again. And I met David at a rally that we had in Pacifica. It was like an underage drinking rally. And I knew when I saw him up there that I wanted to work with him because he was an amazing trustee here and he's an amazing mentor for me. And so we had a drug-free community support program grant, 2 5-year cycles. It was a community coalition grant, so we did a lot of work out in the community. We were looking at social norms. We were looking at the retail environment for alcohol mostly, or really working around alcohol at the time, and youth leadership. So there was 2 5-year cycles of that, and then it sunsets. So we no longer have the community coalition model, but we do have funding from Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the funding as we move forward, but the Pacifica Prevention Partnership has evolved into what is now Inspire. Want to talk about this one?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Awesome. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. and so excited to show what the Inspire program is for y'all. So up here we have a little graphic that shows kind of the different branches of our Inspire tree. So we have brief intervention, health education, youth leadership, and policy advocacy. I personally take on the alternative to suspension brief intervention track and also helping with youth leadership, and Mary does more of the health education and policy advocacy.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit about our funding, and if you're interested in our budget, we can actually send that to you so you can take a look at it later. But these are our funding sources right now. We have a behavioral health and recovery services, which is our primary prevention grant, which covers our youth leadership, our health education, and some of our policy advocacy. We have another grant from San Mateo County MHSA, which is previously MHSA. Now it's Prop 1, so there's going to be a new acronym. That's the money that pays for our brief intervention services here, and that money is sunsetting in 2026. We have a federal Stop Act grant to work on our alcohol policy. We also have an opioid overdose prevention grant, and we are working to get Narcan out throughout our community and educate the adults in our community about overdose awareness and Narcan. We did just apply for the Elevate Youth Grant, so we're crossing our fingers on that one. And then we're looking forward to doing Drug Medi-Cal, which is a huge undertaking for the Daly City Youth Health Center. And we'll talk about that a little more after we talk about the brief intervention.
Awesome. So I'm super excited to talk about brief intervention. I feel like this is my heart and passion work here with the district. I've been doing brief intervention going on 4 years now in the high schools. And so, yeah, essentially everyone, when I have my students in session, they're like, what is a brief intervention? And if y'all haven't heard of a brief intervention, it's essentially a brief kind of structured support for students to really help them look at their use patterns, understand the risk of use, and also help them and support them with their decision making. It relies heavily on one-to-one support and uses evidence-based strategies like motivational interviewing, cognitive behavioral therapy skills, and the stages of change theory. And yeah, and essentially this brief intervention happens in 4 sessions. Students are guided through a curriculum called Teen Intervene. It is evidence-based. It's an evidence-based curriculum. And then with our program, we actually pursue a restorative justice-based approach to substances on campus. And yeah, and so essentially what the brief intervention does is really support students with just increasing their overall awareness on why they're using. We ask them questions that oftentimes they're like, I've never thought of this before. And we also help them move into better decision making. So we really kind of give them a lot of scenarios and really ask them how they would respond and like what we can do to mitigate certain kind of risk factors. And then lastly, altogether with brief intervention, it just really helps with the risky like substance use behaviors and really helping them make a lot like smarter choices. Sweet. And so I'll just give you a brief rundown on how it works. Let me just lift this up a little higher on how it works in JUHSD. So there's essentially a referral process. There's kind of 3 main pathways that students can be referred. The first one is kind of the most common, which is the discipline referral. So this is kind of where brief intervention falls under alternative to suspension. So when a student gets caught on campus, usually as a first offense with any type of substance or paraphernalia, the vice principal or the admin in charge sends me a referral through a Google link, a Google form link, and I meet with the student. The next way is a wellness or staff referral. This is kind of coded as a student self-referral through means of their wellness counselor or just a teacher or staff person at the JUHSD campus. And then lastly is the parent referral. So offering parents the opportunity and showing them what resources they have to support their students if they find that their student is using at home and maybe not getting caught at school, but definitely could use some support. So the parents can sign their student up that way. Did you skip? Yeah, perfect. And then we have initial contact and first meeting. So essentially when we meet with students, they're added to my list and I meet with them for a pre-session. And so this session is essentially just a kind of like really warm way to let them know, hey, this is who I am. I'm going to be running this program. We're going to be together, and just giving them some program expectations, and also just like a safe place to land after like, which could be a traumatic experience for them getting kind of caught and the repercussions that come with that. And so by kind of meeting them with the pre-session, it gives them a lot more buy-in to feel comfortable to really talk about their substance use. And then we together pick a class that they can miss, and we pull them out of their class for about 30 to 45 minutes. And then ultimately the goal for this kind of first initial contact is to let them know that they're not in trouble and that we're a supportive place for them, because the brief intervention does provide just this safe landing, this place of prevention, and also a place of empathy for them. And then just in terms of how we log and communicate with like everyone involved, including admin, Daly City staff, and just people in the district in general. So we actually have access to Synergy. We input every student we see under the Inspire tab on student conferences. And we share a spreadsheet with the administration, so they're able to see when students finish and complete the program. The only really time I contact administration is when students need extra support or potential referrals to outside services, and then if a student is not participating in the program. And so with this model, again, it's like really collaborative, and I work with wellness counselors and sometimes collaborate with the wellness team at each school when we're working with the student, as well as clients from the Daly City Youth Health Center. So all around, the students are getting a really good kind of like wraparound support for mental health, and then that specific substance use support. Awesome. And then just as to know, in terms of how we collect data, is pre and post survey data, which definitely, if we had more time for this presentation, would love to talk more about how we can leverage like accessing kind of certain data that the school district may want surrounding substance use and how students are accessing, et cetera. But essentially, we use pre-surveys to assess their willingness to change their substance use within the next month, the next 6 months. And then also, we kind of, when they first come into the program and they leave, they get a scale on kind of how they want to, or how they see themselves motivated to change. We also assess their attitudes and belief, their coping skills knowledge. And then with our post-survey, it includes everything from the pre-survey, but also just includes like their overall, how safe do they feel in the program, their attitudes towards substances after kind of learning and chatting with me. And then also, how to set goals for themselves and if they feel comfortable and confident doing that. Sweet. Okay, so I just talked about brief intervention and how we do it in school, but why are we doing it? So definitely brief intervention is evidence-based, and there have been a lot of great outcomes that come from it. And so here we have reduction of recidivism. So students who are going into brief intervention have more chances of not reoffending and staying out of trouble and getting their education. It also improves their academic outcomes by reducing the punitive kind of suspension measures that come with getting caught and allowing them to be in class and not miss any material. And then lastly, with our restorative justice approach on how we implement the program, we're also increasing their accountability and having them understand kind of the harm that their actions have done, not only in their school community, but at home with their friends and other kind of peers around them. Sweet. Okay, so I'll just talk about a few of the challenges that we face with brief intervention. So the first one is capacity and space limitations. So adding another service to the school, especially kind of like a counseling-based service, like leads to less room capacity. And so it's been kind of a struggle at certain schools to have a consistent room, or I'm switching every week and the students are like, where are we going to meet this time? Also, like administrative differences on each campuses. Definitely each school campus has its own way of running, and we find it really hard to be consistent in our referral process and our overall just implementation of the program, because we have to change it so much at so many of the different school campuses. Also the limited duration of services. So having substance use specific services with brief intervention, again, is brief. So it's only 4 sessions, and oftentimes students really want extra support, or they want to continue working on their substance use goals. And because of the brief intervention model, that kind of doesn't happen. We do try to connect them with therapy through the health center or even their wellness counselor at school though. And then also referral consistency. So definitely referrals are inconsistent year by year and school by school. So there's some schools where we get heavy referrals and other schools that don't give any referrals at all. And so that's been kind of a struggle. And then also the stigma in student readiness. So obviously talking about substances on a school site is like really like awkward for students and they get really scared and it's just stigmatized altogether. So I find it kind of hard when students come to me and they are very not wanting to be there, you know? And then lastly is just staff turnover and role shifts. So definitely we've worked with admin at a school site, had a really good system, and then roles shifted. One admin became principal and then a new admin became VP, and then processes just get really hard and it's hard to reestablish that connection and that kind of flow that we've had before. Sweet. And then lastly, just talking about the successes of brief intervention. So definitely we are increasing the district capacity for support. We're providing more kind of focused resources for students and also alleviating pressure from wellness counselors. It's also a collaborative care model. So again, we're like working with the whole system. I'm working with students who are seeing their wellness counselor. I'm consulting with them. I'm sharing interventions so we're not kind of repeating services. And then also like strong student engagement. So definitely with the pre-session, we've seen that so many more students are like coming willingly and coming with an open mind to kind of talk about their substance use. Obviously, reduction in suspensions. So definitely, I will say like not all the schools they use, again, it's different at every school. So some schools eliminate suspensions, other schools give suspensions with brief intervention, which has been a little like inconsistent, but that's just what it is. Also empowerment and skill building. So definitely through our curriculum, we are empowering students through goal setting and just helping them build their coping skills that are needed to kind of deter away from substances. And then lastly, just positive feedback from administrators. So definitely admin on each campus have been super supportive of the program and just can't thank us enough for all the kind of support and help that we're giving, especially related to substance use, because it can be really hard and tricky to get the correct amount of support for the students. So yeah. Sweet. Thank you.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about our primary prevention. Under our primary prevention, we have health education, youth leadership, and policy advocacy. You can go ahead, go on. We're going to talk about the health education component first. So we use the Stanford Reach Labs prevention toolkit. It's wonderful because they have all of the curriculum that we need. They have activities that go along with it. It's really great. How it works within the school system is we work directly with the health teachers or any other teachers who might want us to come into their classrooms. We can do like a 1-day mixed substance, or we'll do like a 3-day series and split the substances up. We can hit a lot of students that way. We also do community presentations and adult presentations. And so you can see that we also do some parent presentations as well. We've done the parent workshop at Jefferson, which is really great. It was translated into Spanish, so we had a lot of fun with that. We've been at the Terra Nova PTO, and then we've done some virtual workshops along the way in both communities, both in Daly City and Pacifica. Here's some numbers for you. So we've had a lot of presentations last year. You can see all the numbers there, and you can see all the numbers of participants that we reached. And I know you're probably curious about how many of these numbers are actually Jefferson Union High School students. And about half of them are, with the exception of the opioid presentations, a lot of those are adults. But almost half of these numbers are Jefferson Union High School students. Some of them are they're multiple students because we do like one class, 3 different presentations, so the numbers reflect that as well. And here's just some information about some of the evaluations. Evaluations go really well. The presentations are a whole lot of fun. They're interactive, and we get really a lot of good feedback, and they're learning, and they want us to come back, and it really feels good to be in the classroom with young people. All right, and now we have our Be the Change Youth Coalition, which is at Oceana High School. It's been at Oceana High School for a really long time. Looking forward, we really want to have a BTC on every campus, but we have to have more Marys and Miguels in order to do that, so we're looking forward to that. But our youth leadership model We're broken up into 4 groups. We have a youth-led research group. So they do their own research. They do policy advocacy. We presented to you at the end of last year, so you were able to see a little of that work. We have a podcast called It's Always Something. We do social media campaigns. And then we have youth-led workshops and an annual youth summit. And here they are. It's last year's group. I love them. We work with Youth Leadership Institute to bring training to our young people. So we have training in youth participatory action research. We do meeting facilitation, youth-led campaigns. So it's really nice to have YLI come in and train our students directly so they don't have to hear from us all the time. You know, we're bringing in people from the outside to bring training to them. It's a great partnership with YLI. I think we're going to skip this. We won't make you see the whole video because it takes a long time, unless you want me to. It's up to the superintendent.
Don't leave it up to you. If you want to watch it, show it.
It's okay. We have a small one at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, but we do have a lot of slides, so.
Okay.
But that was about our youth summit. We have a youth summit every year. We'd love to have you come. We invite the whole community comes in. The youth do all of the workshops themselves, so they co-facilitate. We do focus groups, and we have a live podcast, so it's a lot of fun. And here's some of their program evaluations. We have really great numbers with our program evaluations. We're proud of our program. We think the model is really wonderful, and we really want to expand it to the other campuses. Okay, and now we're going to talk about our internship program. So we bring in interns, and Miguel's going to talk a little bit about that.
Sweet. Yeah. So with all the amazing work that we do, obviously we need some kind of support outside of kind of staff help. And so, recently the Inspire program has, increased their capacity for interns, especially with all of our different types of programming. Next slide. And so we have 3 different types of interns. So we have brief intervention interns who support the implementation of the brief intervention on each campus, increasing our capacity there. Before it was just previously Mary and I, so now having 2 extra interns definitely increases the amount of students that we can see. Then we also have public health interns from San Francisco State University who really help more on the policy advocacy side. And then lastly is kind of our new set of interns that we will be getting, which are social work interns from San Jose State School of Social Work. So eventually the vision is to kind of have a step up from the Inspire program to support youth. And so by having master's level social work interns helping, they can help deliver the brief intervention and also just therapy and counseling for students. Thanks. Sweet. And then go ahead.
Yeah. And so I'll talk about this. We've recently started a BTC alumni internship program. And so over the years, we've had former students come in and serve as our interns. One of them just got a teaching job at Westmore this year, teaching ethnic studies over there. We're super excited to have her there. But here's Antonio and Carter, just so you can see their pictures. They graduated last year from Oceana, and they're here to help us with our youth leadership program. It's really great experience for them because they learn what it means to facilitate groups and to lead activities and to kind of have that one step up from probably students they know, right? And so it's been a really great program, and I'm looking forward to continuing it for a long time because it's great to be able to offer it to them. They're very excited to be there, and I hope you have an opportunity to meet them because they're doing great work. All right, so lastly, we are going to talk about our policy advocacy section. So over the years, you can see, I'm not going to read them all, but we have consistently worked on policy advocacy ever since we started. And so we've worked on tobacco policy, alcohol policy, we've worked on social host ordinance here in Daly City and in Pacifica. And so you can see it's a very big part of the work that we do. So when the young people collect their data, we look, we see gaps in services or in policy, we work with folks to create draft ordinances, and then we go and we present to the people who make the decisions. And it's been very successful. And I think it's really important because then we reach outside of our school community into the larger community and make changes that last. Go ahead. And so right now we're working we would love to work on an alternative to suspension brief intervention policy for Jefferson Union High School District. So that's my little pitch for that here tonight. We're also working with the San Mateo County Tobacco Education Coalition, working on tobacco retail assessments and the tobacco ordinance update in Daly City and in Pacifica. And then we're working with the San Mateo County Overdose Awareness Coalition, really looking at the linkages to service and Narcan and overdose awareness. So that's on top of all the other work that we're doing. Go ahead. And so looking to the future, you know, I think we're all aware of all of the things that are going on in our world right now and with our budgets. And so over the past, we've never really come and asked for support from the district as far as money is concerned. But I think we might have to talk about some support for our brief intervention program because our funding is sunsetting this coming year. But we do have a plan to look at a drug medical treatment program through the Daly City Youth Health Center. So it's a really big undertaking, but it'll allow us to do brief intervention. And then the kids who keep coming back to brief intervention, who obviously need that next level of service, we'll be able to serve them. Miguel and I are both back in school. And so we're in the addiction studies program at CSM, but we'll be qualified AOD counselors. And so we'll be able to give kids that next level of service. But the brief intervention program is very, very important to us. So at some point, we'd really love to talk to you about that a little bit. Obviously, we apply for all the grants that we possibly can, and we always have. Our program has always been grant funded, and we've been able to survive all these years. So it's really uncomfortable, honestly, for me to have to say that, but we're all in the same position with budgeting right now. So just know how important that those services are to your schools. To our schools. And then we'd like to increase the capacity for BTC on every campus. And just to keep evolving our program, the brief intervention, we're evolving it all the time. We're constantly working with admin to make it better so that every young person that comes to us has a soft place to land, that we can love them and help them work through their substance use issues and then teach them how to create new plans and move forward with healthy choices. And then we just have one last little message for you from BTC.
When dealing with stress or something difficult, it is important to know how to cope with these emotions that come up.
This is what my friends do and how they work through it.
Exercising not only releases endorphins that can make you happier, but it also serves as a good distraction when you're going through tough times.
Basketball has helped me get rid of a lot of stress in my life from school, work, home. I've been able to just go on the court and escape from all of that.
Meditating helps me calm down before my games.
Sometimes just a drive can clear my head. I love listening to chill music when I'm driving.
Life can feel stressful sometimes, but it's important to remember that you don't have to have it all figured out. Take things one step at a time and reach out for support when you need it. Prioritize self-care as part of your daily routine and give yourself space to recharge. Coping with stress and anxiety is all part of a process, and every little step counts. You're doing better than you think.
That was working fine before, so I don't know what happened. But I mean, the bottom line is we're doing better than we think we are. So thank you so much. Do you have any questions?
That was an amazing presentation. You guys whipped right through it, but I mean, I think we got the gist of it. There's a lot of information there. Thank you guys both for all the hard work on that. We'll open it up to our student advisors here. If they'd like to comment or say anything, you guys are more than welcome to. Ryan?
Yeah, I just want to say I love the work that you all are doing. I had one question in particular about like the pre and post surveys. I was wondering if there were any data about the effectiveness of the brief intervention program, like specifically at Jefferson Union High School District?
Can I answer that? So yes, we do have data. One thing about brief intervention is we have to understand what it is and what it isn't. because it is so brief that we don't see really large changes in the data. But what we do see is gradual changes where young people are trying to actually consider changing their patterns. And so that's where we're seeing a change in the data. That makes sense?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, you good? Valerie?
I just wanted to say that I really like your idea with the brief program. I love that instead of antagonizing students who face substance abuse, it attacks it from the root. And I just want to say that I hope you guys can find a way to make more students aware that this exists. As you guys are developing, I know it might be hard right now, but I trust that you guys will do that because I think it's a really important step into fighting substance abuse on our campuses. That's all.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you, Valerie. Oh, Johnny had to leave. Okay. We'll open it up for our board. Andy?
Sure. Great presentation, as usual. One question, at least on brief intervention, how many students are we seeing typically annually?
So right around 50.
Okay.
Yeah, we would love to see more.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's times, 3 sessions each. And so we are doing quite a few sessions.
Okay. And I'm going to throw this out as a challenge.
Yeah, please.
What will it take to add a BTC program at just one more campus?
I think if we're going to do it at one campus, we need to do them at all the campuses.
Okay.
So we need one more full-time person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'd split up the work between the two of you?
We would need like a health educator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full-time.
All right. That's one of those big, hairy, audacious goals that we should try and attain, because this is the type of work that clearly makes a difference in the students. I mean, when they're feeling safe and secure and their mental health is being addressed, they're going to succeed. And we have seen it through the years.
Oh, yeah.
And we want to see it with more students at all the schools.
Great.
And as my student colleagues here have shared, I mean, this is what we want. We want to see this happen. So thank you so much. Really, really great work as usual.
Great work. It is inspiring. It's really, it's hard work. And it's taken decades, right?
It has.
It's taken decades to get here, and you're still trying to find funding or hold on to funding. And you would think that, I mean, it's hard. And you're in a district that's not very rich. So, but I also would like to see us at all our schools. And I think, so Miguel, are you the only full-time brief intervention person? Okay. So then you do go out to the schools, you meet the students where they are. And and I can understand that even just seeing a wellness counselor, sometimes students feel a stigma with that. Or if they have to go take a break, they're overwhelmed in class and they say, I need to go chill somewhere. They go to the office but also I really do see the importance of having family members who struggled with substance abuse. It's that first step, and it's almost a blessing that they're caught, because now they have to face the accountability, and for you to make it a safe place for them. Really, really important. And I can hear the frustration when you were talking about how there could be administrative changes, differences on the different campuses, and there's no one dedicated room where you can go meet. Yeah, I can. That is a challenge. So I hope we can find a way to help you make that more uniform. But let's see, and I really love that you have former students coming back to help. Do you ever get former patients coming back to help?
Their students do.
Their students, yeah. But I mean, because you have be the change, right?
That's right, yeah.
So you have all, because we went to the summit last year and it was fantastic. And you just have so many students working there, but they all know what they're doing. And I love there's so many boys. Usually you can't find enough boys to help with anything, but this is like, wow, look at all where are the girls at? Let's get more girls in here.
The pizza.
It's the pizza. Okay. Maybe the pizza and the podcast. I don't know.
Right.
But I just have to thank you again. And, we're behind you 100%.
And I also want to say, our program is evolving too. And so we are learning along with the administration and we're really here to support them. And so it's important that that message gets through because we work really hard on those relationships. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We are there to support them.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I learned a lot. This is amazing that this came out of, what it sounds like a few people saying, hey, we can make this better. And I think that as one of 4 boys on this board, we're really happy to be able to help. I also learned that there's a podcast and I'm gonna check it out. I'm pretty excited about that.
Pacific Coast Television, that's where you can find it. So we collaborate with PCT and they're back there right now, by the way. Thank you, Jason. They do all the training and we get to use their studio and then they broadcast it on their channels.
Nice. And you said you had a longer slideshow, which we didn't see, but I think that's going to be available on our website, right? On the agenda website?
They just
went through
smashed
the
it. Yeah. They had a longer video.
Sorry, the video.
Yeah,
there was a
video.
longer
it's kinda
video that
hard
didn't
because
appear.
We told her that.
You guys did great.
So we can check that out. We can
guys did
check out that video
Yes.
still.
It's on the slideshow, yeah.
On the slideshow.
It's located in the slideshow.
Yeah.
It's on the agenda.
She's always going to kill me.
So if you want us to check out that video, you should. I'm going to.
There you go.
And the podcast.
There you go.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, Shrek. Again, I just want to say on behalf of our district and the board here, how extremely thankful we are for people like you that take up this hard work. Especially when we're talking about our kids. I mean, people in general. I mean, everybody needs help at one point or another, but, specifically talking about our kids in our schools. And, I've known people personally that have lost children to drugs. I've known people, I have people in my family that have been addicted to drugs, kids, my nephew with opioids. So this stuff's been really close to me throughout my life. So I understand how important this work is and educating people and how challenging it is. And so, just to kind of see how passionate you guys are about it, it's just really reassuring to know that there's stuff like this out there for people and how important it is. And I don't know how well this is, kind of put out for the kids at school. I don't know how easy it's been for you guys to kind of, present this to the students on campuses and to let them know that this exists and they could be there for their friends and maybe try to help them, because sometimes they just need some encouragement, stuff like that. But
yeah.
And I guess, just thinking about, the fiscal impact of it, if it does come down to where you're, coming to the school district for, help with the budget. I mean, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. But I think it's going to be important for us to understand what that responsibility is like fiscally and seeing how that, works with our budget. So I don't know if there's a way you guys could put together something that kind of gives us an idea of what that looks like. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to know if we could help out.
Happy to.
And obviously, I think, like you mentioned, we all know that we're struggling with our budget too and trying to figure out how to make things work and money's getting tighter. So it's just making it harder. But we don't want to lose this kind of help. We don't want to lose this kind of resource. It's too important. So, thank you again for the presentation. Thank you for the education. And we'll look forward to hopefully working with you guys some more. So,
I appreciate it.
Appreciate
And
that.
I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
yeah.
We really are. We move forward with every grant we possibly can. So we do push through pretty well.
Yeah.
And it's hard work, but it's our hard work.
Yeah, I could tell.
So
Appreciate that.
thanks.
Tony?
Mary's walking away. I actually don't have a lot to say. Thank you so much. Miguel, I'm happy to. Well, I didn't really meet you. I'm Tony Presta. Nice to meet you. I've heard so many wonderful things about you. Oh, Miguel. So I'm happy to put a name to a face. And Mary, I'm always, really, really grateful for the good work that you do. And I hear it from our students all the time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Okay. Moving on to 16A2, we have a board policy update. 1431 on waivers. Ms. Tony Presta.
Thank you. So we have been working hard. Miss Chelsea Johnson has been working extra hard at really updating our board policies as recommended by CSBA. So I have 4 updates for you tonight. The first one is Board Policy 1431 regarding waivers. So it was updated to reference a new law which prohibits a waiver request for transitional kindergarten, which has nothing to do with us, but we adopt the policies as recommended by CSBA. But it was also updated to provide that advertisement of the notice for the public hearing, which is required prior to governing boards submitting waivers. Request to the State Board of Education includes publishing it on the district's website. So that does affect us. Do you mind if I just go through all 4 of these?
do.
Okay. The next one is Board Policy 2121 regarding the superintendent's contract. Again, this is as recommended by CSBA. This policy is updated to delete a portion of the language related to limitations for discussing superintendent's salary or other compensation in closed session, as this material exists in other policy materials. Additionally, this policy is updated to reflect new law, SB 494, which was from 2023, prohibiting a governing board from taking action to terminate a superintendent under specified conditions. The next bylaw is, it's Board Bylaw 9100 regarding organization. This bylaw is updated to reflect new law, AB 486, which was adopted in 2021, which changes the date requirements for districts to hold their annual organizational meeting. We've been compliant with those dates, but now it's in the bylaws. And then finally, Board Bylaw 9124. Attorney. Bylaw is updated to revise the first philosophical paragraph to recognize the need to provide legal representation to the district and the importance of cost-effective legal advice and services. To clarify that the governing board may appoint and fix and order paid legal counsel's compensation, expand the type of entities that the board may contract with to serve as legal counsel, and reflect that the board supports pursuing collaborative legal efforts with other districts, as well as other government agencies as appropriate. The bylaw also is updated to clarify that districts may, but are not required, to initiate a request for proposals to advertise and solicit proposals for legal services, and that districts may consider the attorney's firm and or entity's relevant legal reputation when evaluating such attorneys, firms, and or entities. Additionally, the bylaw is updated to reflect that any attorney representing the district is required to be admitted to practice law in California, which seems like it should be a given, but now it's written down. So.
All right.
Any questions?
Yeah. Are there any questions? Okay.
Yeah, actually, I have a quick question. Is there a reason why the name Board of Trustees is being changed to Governing Board?
That's a really, what a good question. Miss Johnson and I kind of crack up about that all the time. So I don't know. The honest answer is I don't know why, but the California School Board Association keeps recommending that we make that change. They're interchangeable. They're used interchangeably, but for some reason, the California School Board Association has decided that we should all kind of change it. And I really don't know why, but that's a really good question because it means the same thing. but they're all being updated in that fashion.
As Miss Lujan would say, a good wandering.
Yes, that is a good wondering. We kind of laugh at it every board agenda. We're like, I don't know why they're doing this, but we like to do what is recommended.
Okay. Are there any further questions? All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so we are moving on to where we have 16B2, Education Services for the 2025 CASP results. Ooh, Deputy Superintendent of Education, Karine Baca.
Interesting. All right. Good evening, President Gallegos, members of the board. Tonight, I will be sharing an overview of the California Assessment Student Performance and Progress results administered in the spring of 2025. And as a quick reminder, the CASP is California's statewide assessment system that helps us see how well our students are meeting standards in English language arts, math, and science. It also includes alternate assessments designed for students who need more extensive support. It is important to note that these scores give us just a snapshot in time. They're one piece of the larger picture that we use to understand how our students are learning and growing. So I'll start by going over the English and math results from the Smarter Balance assessments. The Smarter Balance assessments report student performance across 4 levels. So standard not met, which is the lowest, standard nearly met, standard met, and standard exceeded, which is the highest. Our goal is for students to reach standard met or higher. So here's a quick snapshot of last year's results. 57% of our 11th grade students met or exceeded standards in English language arts, and 33% met or exceeded standards in mathematics. We also met the state target of 95% participation rate, which is a big accomplishment. So a special thank you to our vice principals, our special projects assistant, Patty Del Rio and Gabby Degandan, and Dr. Lori Robinson for their leadership and support in making this happen. So this slide shows the 5-year comparison of our English language arts results starting in 2019. This is the year before COVID-19 shutdown. There was no testing in 2020, and in 2021, we had very low participation rate because of opt-out, so that data is not included here. The blue bars represent the JUHSD's results and the percentage of students who met or exceeded standards. As you can see, our scores have remained fairly steady over time, hovering around 56 to 57%. The purple dashed line shows how 11th graders across California performed, and you'll notice that the statewide trend looks very similar to ours. And finally, the gold solid line represents 11th grade students in San Mateo County, where scores have been consistently about 8 percentage points higher than JUHSD's, but overall the trend is very similar. This slide shows a 3-year trend of students meeting or exceeding standards in ELA broken down by ethnic group. To be included in the data, each group must have at least 11 students with valid scores. So the first set of bars represents all students, and the bars that follow show the results for each ethnic groups. The number below the bar indicates how many students from that group were enrolled in our district in 2025. You'll notice that we weren't able to report data for Native American, Black African American, and Pacific Islander students because their numbers were below the state's reporting threshold. So looking at the overall trend, Asian and Filipino students continue to outperform other groups. Students identifying as 2 or more races and white students perform close to the overall district average, while Hispanic Latino students have typically scored below the district average. So this slide shows a 4-year trend in ELA performance broken down by student groups, but instead of ethnicity, they're broken down by English learners compared to students who were never English learners, students with IEP compared to those without, students identified as low socioeconomic status compared to those who are not, and female versus male. Each line represents the percentage of students meeting or exceeding standards over the past 4 years. Just like we see across the state, our English learners and students with IEPs are performing below their peers, and those gaps have remained fairly steady over time. Low SES students also score below their peers, though that gap is a little smaller. And when it comes to gender, female students continue to outperform their male counterparts in English language arts. This slide shows the 5-year comparison of our math results. And I'm happy to share that we saw a little over 2% increase in the percentage of 11th graders meeting or exceeding standards compared to the previous year. So the purple line again shows our students across the state of California, and the gold line represents students in San Mateo County. In math, our scores have been slightly higher than the states, but still about 10 percentage points below the county average. If you look at this slide, you'll see the math results broken down by ethnicity. And just like in ELA, Asian students continue to outperform all other groups. Our Filipino or 2 more races and white student groups are performing closer to the overall district average. And similar to what we've seen in the past years, Hispanic Latino students are scoring below the district average. This slide again shows our math results comparing key student groups over the past 4 years. For each comparison, again, the lines show the percentage of students meeting or exceeding standards. So consistent with the statewide trends, English learners and students with IEPs perform significantly below their peers, and those gaps have remained steady over time. Students identified as low SES also score below their peers, but the gap is slightly smaller than what we see for English learners and students with IEPs. In math, the gender difference is less pronounced than in ELA, but female students continue to perform ever so slightly higher than the male students overall. This slide shows Jefferson High School's performance over the past 5 years. ELA is shown on top and math is on the bottom. In the chart, the last column represents the most recent scores. So green indicates an increase, a red a decrease, gray means that a score stayed the same as last year, and an asterisk in a cell means that there weren't enough students with valid scores to report a percentage. So I want to give a big shout out to Jefferson staff and administration. Overall, both English and math scores increased by nearly 5 percentage points, a really positive trend. It is especially encouraging to see growth among students with disabilities and English learners in both subject areas. I also want to recognize the math teachers who met a lot last year collaboratively to align their student-facing objectives and develop common assessments. Their teamwork and consistency are clearly reflected in these results. This slide shows Oceania's performance. There was a slight dip in English language arts in 2025, but Oceania continues to have the highest percentage of students meeting or exceeding standards across the district, both in English and math. Math scores showed a particularly strong gain this year, increasing by 10 percentage points from the previous year. I also want to highlight the growth among Hispanic Latino students in both English and math, which directly aligns with one of their school's goals. An area for reflection is in the ELA performance of students with disabilities, which could be a priority for targeted support. This slide shows Terra Nova's performance, and overall, Terra Nova saw increase in both English and math for all students. There was a particularly strong gain in English language arts among Hispanic students and students with disabilities. So one area, though, that they could reflect on its performance is the Hispanic students in math, as the scores have shown a slight decline over time. This slide shows Thornton High School's performance. And because of Thornton High School's small population, the percentage of students meeting or exceeding standards tend to fluctuate from year to year. So an area of celebration for the school is the increase in math scores, as well as the improvement in ELA performance among Hispanic students. Lastly, here is Westmore High School's performance. There was a very slight drop in English language arts, but math scores increased for all students, including a nearly 5-point percentage gain among Filipino and Hispanic students. An area to explore is the performance of their students learning English and students with disabilities in the areas of math. Next, we'll look at the science results, which come from the California Science Test, or the CAS, administered to students mostly in the 11th grade. Here are our district science results shown in the blue bars, and you can see we've made gains from the previous year, which is a great progress. The purple line shows how students across California perform, and the gold line shows students for San Mateo County. Here's the 3-year science performance trend broken down by ethnicity. Similar to what we saw in English and in math, our Asian student group continues to outperform all other groups, while our Hispanic Latino students have the lowest percentage of students meeting or exceeding standards. So when we look at the results by student groups, English learners continue to perform below their non-EL peers, and the gap is widening. Students with IEP showed improvement, but the gap between them and their peers without IEP remains wide. Low-income students perform below students who are not low income, and yet their scores have gradually increased over time. Performance between male and female remain fairly consistent with minimal differences. Next will be the California Alternate Assessment results, which was administered to students with extensive support needs. So 15% of the students met or exceeded standards in English, which is an 18% decrease from the previous year. In math, 15% met or exceeded standard, which is an 8% increase from the previous year. And as you can see, there were 20 students tested. So overall, our ELA performance has leveled off. We're holding steady, but not seeing the same growth we'd like to see yet. Performance gaps across ethnicity, language, and disability groups still persist, and that continues to be a major focus for us. In math, scores remain steady and on the lower side, but we are starting to see an upward trend, which is encouraging. And finally, science is the area where we've seen the most consistent improvement from the previous year. So to support the continued growth across all subject areas, we've introduced new instructional materials to strengthen core teaching. So in English, we're using Common Lit. It is a high-quality, standards-aligned resource that builds reading comprehension and writing and critical thinking skills while allowing teachers to differentiate instruction and monitor progress. In science, OpenSciEd is helping students engage in hands-on inquiry-based learning. And in math, we are getting ready to pilot new materials that align with the state's updated framework. Also, each school, under the leadership of their principal, has identified a site instructional focus and working on measurable goals. So Ms. Presta, Dr. Robinson, and I have been joining the principals on classroom walkthroughs to look for evidence of universal design for learning in action. We are also administering benchmark assessments throughout the year to monitor progress, and schools are using this data to celebrate bright spots and identify areas of need. Our instructional coaches continue to partner closely with teachers, modeling effective strategies, providing feedback, and supporting collaborative planning through the Blue Sheet process to ensure alignment and consistency across courses. And while the results show that we still have important work ahead, they also reflect the continued efforts of our students, teachers, and staff who remain committed to improvement. We will continue using these results as one of the many tools to reflect, learn, and grow together, always keeping our students in the center of everything that we do. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne. I'll open it up to our student advisors if they have any questions.
I do have one thing that maybe I'd like to see in the future is the relationship between Pacifica School District's CASP testing and ours, because I feel like, I wonder if it would be fair to assume that one of the major reasons why many are not meeting the standards for math and some in ELA is a lack of understanding of fundamental concepts in these fields.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. And yes, we are starting to look at how did our students perform when they were in their partner districts and see if there's any correlation and what can we do to strengthen that relationship so that we can align what we are teaching with vertical alignment.
It's a great question. Oh, sorry. Andy.
Go for it. Yeah. All right. I know I emailed you these questions, and I just sort of wanted to sort of reiterate the questions again. I'd be curious to see if we can align these scores along with is there any correlation with the AP scores and grades associated with A through G completion? Because, I mean, this is only one part of a picture of a student's success, as we all know. So, and I think it's important for us to be able to kind of triangulate all of that, because oftentimes parents or community members will only just see the CASP scores and without looking in the context of the totality of their particular student. So I think that's one piece. The other thing would be, is it possible for us to kind of look at even our subgroups as compared to subgroups in other districts in the county? Because we're only looking at the total scores, right, as compared to the state and compared to the other districts. And while that's all good, it doesn't, I'm kind of curious to see if there are similar types of gaps and how we compare in those instances.
Yes, I can get that information for you in the weekly recap.
Perfect.
And just for clarification, the other set of data that we're looking at, the CASP, the A through G, and the AP, we're wondering like, what is the correlation of their Smarter Balance scores with how ready they are for A through G, and also how many AP classes they may be
Right,
taking.
and even what kind of scores they may have had on the AP exams, as well as whether these are students who are on track to complete A through G, or if they've completed A through G.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because these are all juniors, right?
These are seniors now.
They're seniors now, but when they took the test, they were juniors.
Yes, they were juniors. So we can even look back maybe like 1 year too, because we would be able to see like, the full 12th grade, like after the fact, because some of the students will still be taking the AP exams. So we can like look at this year's seniors and then last year's seniors and look at their CASP scores.
I think it's really, really amazing, the participation rate. I think it's gone up since last year. Yeah.
Yes, this might be the first time where we actually met a 95% participation rate.
It's pretty amazing, because I know that, there was a time when students learned that they could opt out, and then, but then also, then you had students saying, well, what's it really going to do for me if I do well on it? I mean, does it really matter? I have AP tests to take. So there's also I think a mindset that we had to return to, that this is important. I don't like testing, but this is important. So have you found that, with the advent of the 4x4 schedule or flex time, that it has changed things for the better for students?
I believe so. There's Their scores at Jefferson High School, as you can see, have increased, and also their A through G rate have really gone up, and their graduation rate.
Yeah, that's great. I don't have any other questions right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Rosie. Charette, questions?
I have no questions. Thank you very much.
Hi, Corinne.
Hi.
I don't have a question, more of a concern. It's just this trend for my Hispanic and Latino community with these really low scores. And I think we have a pretty good population of Hispanic and Latino students within our district.
It's our highest population.
Yeah, so that's, to me, I don't know, that's just really, really concerning to see that. And, you know, obviously I don't have the answer on how to fix that, but I think we really need to look into that and what you know, what we could do to help those students. I mean, I know they're just test scores, but there's something else there that's really kind of making, you know, that stand out like that. And I was kind of taken aback a little bit by, you mentioned Oceana kind of emphasizing, you know, a goal of theirs to get some of those scores up for that community. And just looking at their, I was kind of taken aback by the math score in that subgroup. Was it the math score? Yeah, I think it went from like 26 to like 5%. That's a huge drop off. That's a really low number. So, and I feel like for the most part, you know, like you mentioned, the trends are kind of, you know, going up. I mean, they're staying off and going up a little bit, and that's a good indication, I think. But, you know, we're in some trying times, and I understand, you know, kids are going through a lot of stuff right now. But, yeah, that just really concerns me about our Hispanic Latino community for sure. So I'm mentioning that just to put it in the forefront of your thoughts to, you know, if there's something we could do or think, you know, talk about or think that we could try to do something to help these guys out, we really need to figure that out. But overall, the presentation, as always, data filled and amazing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Presta.
Thank you. I don't have any comments for Ms. Baca. But you bring up points that we do think about and are working on.
Yeah. And I mean, I know it was evident with our Black students as well, and we just don't have enough information. So, I mean, I know it's there too, because we did have one small graph for them and it's the same result, you know, so.
It's a very similar trend for our Black and Latino students, and it's not just the Smarter Balance assessments, but in a lot of the student outcome metrics that we have.
Actually, I do have a comment. That's why a lot of the work that we've been doing with the National Equity Project has been focused on those groups of students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Now, unless there's any other questions, I'll move on to the last discussion item. All right. So we are looking at 16B2 board policy update 0440 district technology, and back to you, Ms. Baca.
Hello again. So this policy revision updates our district's philosophy on technology to recognize both the benefits and potential challenges that come with digital tools. It emphasizes the importance of aligning technology use with district goals, academic standards, and safe practices that includes responsible use of artificial intelligence. The update also notes that while the state no longer requires us to have a formal technology plan, we will continue to develop and update one regularly, and the policy now clearly outlines the key components that should be included in that plan.
Awesome. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
It says that utilizing artificial intelligence can enhance student achievement by increasing student access to information and supporting teacher effectiveness. What exactly does that mean in this context? What is teacher effectiveness?
So what we are trying to do is what kinds of tools can we use to help teachers become better instructors in the classroom? Are there any technology tools that can help us teach and students that we may not be able to reach in traditional ways? And so what this policy will actually do is this will allow us to start an AI committee that will help us develop an AI policy so that we can both, AI is here, it's not going away, so we need to be able to use it smartly and effectively.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. In terms of teachers using AI, I think it can be a great tool. My only concern is when teachers rely on AI to make a lesson without fully comprehending what the AI is saying. But I understand that there's nothing we can do about that in this moment. I just want to make sure that we recognize that.
I completely hear you. And that is one of the things that we really need to be careful of is, we can just plug things out there, but we really need to know what is being given to us and really question that and look at it with critical thinking skills before, using it.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Valerie, really, really great questions and concerns tonight. Thanks for speaking up on that stuff. Okay. Wow, there's no action items tonight. So I think without further ado, if there's no considerations for any future agenda
Move
items.
to adjourn.
That was fast.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.